Hello, everybody. Okay. This is Adam Stargazing Astrology, and he is wonderful. So, how did you get started? How did you decide that that was the pull for you?
That is a great question. First off, Kathleen, thank you so much for having me on your channel. This is going to be a fun astrological learning session. So, I first had my astrology chart read when I was 19 years old, and I had it read in Santa Cruz, California, and that's actually the town that I'm living in now. And I had just gotten out of high school a little while ago, and I was needing some sort of direction as to what to do next. And so after I got it read, I felt like the astrologer was like spot on, and it was almost like he had read into my soul, or something along those measures. And it felt like I was sort of given this extra guiding hand as to what to do next in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so he mentioned school. I went to school a little bit, and that was great. But when I was in school, I started learning about astrology, and then I slowly over the years, just got books, more books, more books. The internet came around, when I
Mm-hmm.
was around that age, so I would look on the internet, and my fascination just kept growing, and I would spend hours and hours and hours just looking up facts. And then I started to do readings about my around my mid-20s. I started to do readings. So it's been a while now. And
It's been a while. We won't go into that. We won't
yeah,
go
yeah,
into
it's been
how
a
long
while
it's
for
been.
yeah, it's been a while for all of us. And yeah, and so then I recently got my YouTube page, even though I'm not a recent I'm not a new astrologer by any means, but I recently got my YouTube page in February. And yeah, I've just been going from there, doing collaborations and posting videos on like the new moon and the full moon and fun astrological topics.
We have really, I've really, everybody that I've spoken to about this has been just almost giddy because they say, well, I can follow them so far. And then they start talking about ascendants, but some people say rising and yada yada. And I'm lost. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all really eager to,
Yeah.
to be educated.
Yeah, there are so many terms in astrology. It's very left brain and very right brain as well. The left brain has to do with all of the terms and all of the mathematical components. And then the right brain has to do with the mythology and the wonderful stories, that have been passed down through thousands of years, in relation to each constellation.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of memorization, as far as the left brain, a lot of stories as far as the right brain. So that is a good question. Someone will be like, what is your rising? Or what is your ascendant? And the rising and the ascendant are actually the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the most eastern, or excuse me, so never 4 points. It's the most western point in the chart. So I'm gonna point because it's actually gonna be opposite because the way that so we have the northern point,
Mm-hmm.
east, shredded wheat. Envision a circle. It's the most western point on the circle. That's the ascendant or also the rising. The ascendant stands for the mask that we wear to others or our physical appearance and our outer demeanor. That's our ascendant, also known as rising. It would be if you envision three circles. The most outer circle would be the rising. One slightly in would be the sun, and then the most inner circle would be the moon side. The sun
Okay.
sign's the ego
Okay.
structure.
Let me, Deann, Deann, Kelly is going to be with us because when you weren't here, I was kind of panicking.
Oh yeah.
Trying to come on with me. So, this is Kelly, Dozen Cats for Me, and
Hey.
I don't know if you know her or not,
No,
but
but
awesome, awesome.
We've exchanged emails. So.
Yeah.
Hi, Adam. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe she would have questions as well, and I was going to tell the people in the chat, if you will put it in all caps, I will keep track of it and put it in the on the star it, so that you can ask Adam your personal questions about some of these terms. Okay. Yay.
Thanks for asking me to pop on, Kathleen. I literally just checked my text and I was like, oh, and as I was coming on screen, I was like, oh, Adam's here. So I just sat. Great. We get to meet each other. I'm so excited.
But okay, the sun sign, the moon sign, and the rising sign, I know that has a lot to do with our personalities, our driving force. So if you could kind of go on what each one tells about you.
Sure. Yeah, so the sun sign stands for the vitality. It stands for the ego structure. And it also stands for the aspect of self-integration. The moon sign is the storehouse of the memory. So the subconscious mind. It stands for the feelings and the emotions and the personal life.
Okay. Wow. So I am a Cancer sun, an Aries moon, and a Libra rising or ascendant. So each thing kind of gives a piece of tells a story about what you want to work against or for.
Yeah. So automatically when I would think of that Cancer Sun Aries Moon, I would say, I would look at it and I'd say water and fire. Ooh, like what happens if you put water and fire together? I would say, wow, that could get steamy. On a bad day that could get steamy. However, those are both cardinal mode. There's cardinal, fixed, immutable. Cardinal's all about initiating. So when I think of a Cancer, Sun, Aries, Moon, I'm like, wow, that person is probably really good at initiating things and getting things started.
Okay. That's cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo sun and a Leo rising and an Aquarius moon.
Okay, so you are a full moon person.
That says a lot about me, doesn't it?
I'm a full moon person as well. So what happens during the full moon is the potency of the moon sign is a lot stronger. So those are both the fixed element. Leo's that fixed fire. Aquarius is that fixed air. So what's so interesting about the Leo Aquarius is that Leo is really about more self-centered activities, and planets in Aquarius are very altruistic and very group and other oriented. So it's this sort of flip-flop with a full moon. I have a Virgo sun and Pisces moon, so I know all about the flip-flop. Sometimes one can really predominate over the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that explains a lot about like the conflicted feelings that I often have, So I know that you get what I'm saying. That's cool.
When your ascendant is the same as your sun sign, does that mean you are basically showing your true self?
So when your ascendant is the same as your sun sign, that means your sun sign is either in the 12th house in the astrology chart or the 1st house. The 12th house is more about the house of retreat, and that's the house of what stuff that happens beyond the closed doors. So I would say when I would say a first house sun sign tends to be a little more almost kind of like an in your face, sort of more out there, because the first house is ruled by the astrological sign of Aries, and the first house is more about independence, and it's a fire house. So with fire, we get more action and we get more inspiration. So when your ascendant is the same as your sun sign, does that mean you are basically showing your true self? I'm not sure actually how to answer that question, like what the actually true self means, because in astrology, there's no like true self. Your true self's not your sun sign, it's not your rising, it's not your moon. They're all just components.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all just pieces of the whole. But as I mentioned, that 12th house is more drawn, more tucked away. The first house is more in
More
your face.
open, more.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
It also doesn't matter like the degrees. The degrees is really really important, is it not, Adam?
That was
forms like sextiles and all those other kinds of things, right?
Yeah. So that would be actually that's what we would call the aspect grid, and the aspect grid is the relationship between the planets and how the planets talk to each other.
Oh, cool.
It's fascinating, honestly. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, what does it mean for me? A Gemini sun, Aquarius moon, Aries rising, besides the fact that I'm evidently a total Aries. Well, Gemini and Aquarius are both air signs. So what I'm seeing here is your sun and your moon sign are trine, which are considered harmonious because they're both in the air element. Gemini sun, Aquarius moon is very airy, very mental. The Aquarius moon helps ground the Gemini a little. It's very humanitarian, whereas the just planets in Gemini are a little scattered. So this gives a very curious mind, a very altruistic mind, and someone who's probably into humanitarian causes with that Aquarius moon, or at least humanitarian ideals. There's probably a side of the esoteric as well. Aries rising, just take that sun and moon and sort of yank it up a couple notches. When you see that Aries rising, add a little fire, sprinkle a little bit of cayenne pepper in there. Well,
I love that.
Gives you a little fire.
Let's see here. Yeah. Let's see.
I think that's really interesting for Sherry H. Because as we know her to be, she's a very curious individual, right? And she's also highly intelligent. And so that makes sense what you just said about Sherry.
Aquarius moons are very, very intelligent, very humanitarian people.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Get this thing going here. I don't know why I couldn't click on it. I clicked it and nothing would happen.
I would say having a moon sign in Pisces, I would say my only perhaps perhaps about the moon in Aquarius is that sometimes, depending on other aspects, there can be a lack of emotional warmth. And the reason why is because you get the moon in an air sign. Aquarius is not, it's sort of emotionally distant. And the reason why is because planets in Aquarius are really all about rising above the emotions. It's a very objective placement.
That's really interesting that you say that, Adam. I've had many people say to me that until they got to know me, they felt like I was very, sort of like emotionally closed off. And I'm pretty sure that pretty much everyone in the chat knows who I am. They know that I'm not emotionally closed off. But when you don't know me, I don't want to swear on Kathleen's channel, but I have that resting, face. I give off the impression that I'm kind of closed off, right? And I do it does take an awful lot for me to like tap into my emotions, if that's kind of in the realm of what you were talking about. So that makes sense to me what you just said.
Oh yeah. There's this need to Aquarius lives on a distant planet.
Everyone in the chat's like, yep, she does. No, just kidding.
Yeah. On this esoteric planet. Okay, Libra sun, Aquarius moon, Leo midheaven. I would say your sun, moon, rising is the perfect combination for someone who may be heavily interested in politics for Bright Opal Tarot. Libra is all about social justice. And with the realm of social justice, we get politics. So I would say that's a very political combination. Your midheaven Leo. Okay, so Leo stands, the midheaven stands for the public image and the vocation. Even though just because your midheaven matches a certain something or other, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be your career. So, for example, a Leo midheaven, it's on the cusp of the 10th house. It's the high point in the chart. I would say a classic Leo midheaven would be someone that is in the limelight somehow. You know, someone that works behind camera or in some sort of entertainment field, which, let's face it, tarot, astrology, there's a Leo component to it.
Yeah.
I find that really interesting that you just said that, because so many readers often say that they feel like they're introverts. And I when I hear that, I find that interesting because it does take so much courage. Never mind coming on YouTube to do readings, but I mean, just to meet people in general to do readings, right? Like if you do private readings, that's difficult to meet a person that you don't know and sort of, you know, put yourself out there like that, right? So that's always an interesting thing that sits with me. Does that have to do with what you're talking about, Adam? Sorry, this is my Charlotte, her tail. Does that have to do with the midhaven? So how people perceive you?
Yeah. So a lot of times someone could have, you know, perhaps a Leo midheaven. I have a Pisces midheaven, for example. I'm an astrologer. I do, you know, some psychic stuff, some tarot as well. Or, you know, or some strong Neptune aspects. Or what is happening a lot of times here too is the moon rules the mind and it rules the personal self, right? And like the personal activities. So on a personal basis, you know, Aquarius moon, Pisces moon, these very sort of out there esoteric moons a lot of times have strong interest in you know, these like supernatural occult fields. And so we end up wanting to share that stuff and we end up getting gifts because that's sort of how our mind is working and our personal subconscious self. So we're able to sort of bring that forward. And then it would be used, you know, as a tool, you know, for a more humanitarian tool. The idea is not, you know, with a lot of these charts I see in a lot of these combinations, the idea really is to spread more like maybe Aquarian ideals, you know, or more humanitarian ideals. The idea around this really isn't for like one's own popularity thing,
right?
You know, it really is to, you know, fully help humanity, but it may come through like a Venus in Leo or a Leo midheaven, or with your case, a Leo rising.
Yeah, interesting. I swear I could listen to you all day. I just find astrology absolutely fascinating. Sorry, I'll be quiet, Kathleen.
Well, I do too. It's you know, I had a friend who was, we were in high school and she was really getting into it, and I would look at it but she was big into geometry, and she said it just makes sense because this
Right.
and it angles to this and all this, and I'm like, if it's anything to do with math, you keep it.
You're like, no.
No, I can't. I need remedial. Almost remedial. I mean, I went through. I had to do algebra course for drug calculation as I was a nurse, and you know, that nearly killed me. So I thought there's no way I could go on to geometry. You know.
And so, for example, your sun sign is in Cancer. Cancer is very strong intuition with that water element. You know this, and also too, what Cancer really has going on is Cancer is really, being that water sign, is able to pick up emotional undertones and emotional undercurrents that register as intuition. Because Cancer's ability to feel and to absorb feelings is very strong.
Well, they're very empathic, are they not, Cancers?
Strong empathy skills, strong intuitive skills as well. So let's see. What is a midheaven in Virgo, Aries Sun, Sag Rising, Cap Descendant, and Cancer Moon? Wow, that's a big one. So what is interesting here? Your Sun sign and your midheaven are in what's called an inconjunct aspect, and those are aspects that are 150 degrees apart. So those are aspects that are considered non-relational. Virgo is a midheaven in Virgo really strives for like a secure livelihood. Virgo is really all about health, service, day-to-day routines. Your sun sign in Aries is more action-oriented, more independent. I don't know your exact case here, but I would say an Aries sun sign and a midheaven in Virgo might not see eye to eye. The midheaven in Virgo might want a more secure type of job, more secure type of living, and an Aries sun might be more about independence and action and travel. So there could be sort of a clashing between your what you're striving for and what your ego wants as far as that Aries sun sign. Aries goes well with Sag rising. That combination is very travel oriented, very philosophy oriented, and very mentally expansive. And a Sag rising is generally really into some sort of travel, whether it be foreign travel or mental travel. Capricorn descendant. The descendant is the cusp of the 7th house. It's what you're looking for in others. A Capricorn descendant is really all about, it's like if I'm going to have a partner or if I'm going to be in a relationship with someone, there needs to be clear boundaries, there needs to be structure, there needs to be order, perhaps some sense of security. And a Cancer moon is really a homebody. So even though, I mentioned before, there's a lot of what we could say like inconjunct aspects, So for example, the Virgo is inconjunct Aries. Aries is square Cancer, So there may be perhaps, a lot of, this is, like I want to go travel, but yet I also really want to be home. But yet, so in order to do that, maybe I'll, for my Cancer moon, maybe I'll just stay a homebody, right? And then travel on the internet, something like that, where I can be comfortable in my own space. Because I know some people that have a Cancer moon, that's a real homebody, very homebody aspect.
Let's see, I'm going to go to this one now. And the next question is about where is off of the sun and moon and everything, and I want to get to it too, so I thought you could look at this and then we go to that.
So Sagittarius sun, Pisces moon. So you have what's called a sun moon square, and a square can represent challenge in dynamics and overcoming obstacles. This is a very philosophical sun moon combination because they're both ruled by Jupiter. You add a little flavor of Neptune with the Pisces, you get a very expansive person. This is very altruistic Sagittarius sun and Pisces moon. But you need to watch out for perhaps things like overcommittal, overindulgence sometimes because there's so much Jupiter in there. I would say the sun, I would say a key word for happiness with this would probably be like moderation with the Sagittarius sun, Pisces moon. The Aries rising, this will probably indicate maybe you had a 12th house moon because Pisces comes after Aries. If that was the case, if you had a 12th house Pisces moon, that is very spiritual and very much the need for retreat, very much the need for, just a lot of downtime, a lot of self-reflection time.
Okay. Well, this question, a lot of people might be interested in.
So for example, where should you begin? For example, I personally do teach astrology courses. You don't need to have psychic abilities to be an astrologer, but you have to have a couple things. First of all, you have to have a belief in it. Second of all, you have to have some sort of sense of numbers and counting because there's a lot of charts, there's a lot of graphs, You know, you have to have some sort of memorization abilities. And I would say the number one thing would be the passion and the interest. You can learn stuff online by yourself. There's books. You can type in how to learn astrology and you'll get a million websites.
Right. Well, okay. All of the houses mean something, but the planets mean something as well.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I know that the planets and the houses, the Capricorn, Cancer, they're all. I've got several different. Let me get one that you can see better. I've got cards that have, you know, the planet insignia on the cards, and that means, like, the world means completion. And this one, what's the one that looks like a 5? Saturn. Completion, like retirement is one of the things that the world card means. And it has Saturn on it. So what I've always wondered, what aspect of Saturn is, what is its aspect?
What are Saturn's aspects?
Yeah.
So when we look at the tarot cards in relation to astrology, each major arcana card represents an astrological sign. For example, the moon rules Pisces, the devil rules Capricorn. Saturn has its strong correspondence with the planet Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Neptune has a strong correspondence with Pisces, but even though the moon rules Pisces, so there are some overlappings in interpretations. Virgo rules the hermit. Gemini's the lovers. Let's see here. Aries, Cancer is the chariot. Leo would be the sun. Libra would be.
I've got it on the cards. It was the Fool was Uranus, Magician was Mercury, Priestess was the Moon, Empress Venus, Emperor Aries, Faith, which I'm sure that's the Hierophant, is Taurus, Lovers Gemini, Chariot Cancer, Strength Leo, Hermit Virgo, Wheel of Fate is Jupiter, Justice is Libra. I mean, come on, you can't. The scales on Libra and Justice, that's almost like, they have to be handcuffed together.
Oh yeah. But so there's 12 astrological signs, and then I believe there's 22 major arcana cards. So some have interpretations for both.
Yeah, well, because the Leo card is usually like either the sun, like you said, or the Strength card, right? So
yeah, some of them have both.
See, it says, in this on this deck, the sun is the sun. So that's how this deck's interpretation, anyway. Because I was like, I guess it makes sense, but I never would have put. I mean, I guess I never think of the sun as a planet. It is the sun, but it that's a very powerful body in the heavens. Is the sun
luminary?
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely don't need psychic abilities to be an astrologer.
Adam, when I took like a little mini astrology, it wasn't really a course, it was just an information session by some people behind the scenes in the community, right? It was just kind of like a free thing for a couple of afternoons. Very informative. What I thought was interesting is they talked about the elements, which is something like if you do tarot cards, you understand the elements, right? But this took it one step further. This is like the fixed, immutable signs, right? That kind of idea. And they also mentioned in conjunction with Sophie's question there about going to, I believe it's astrocafe.com. I think Sherry put it in the chat, where you put in like your date of birth, the time that you were born, if you know it. If you don't know it, pick noon. Maybe Adam has a different suggestion. And then it brings you out this chart, and it's like a 30-page report. And you can go through it and read it, and it'll tell you like where your house is in this, if your moon is here or whatever. And it's very informative because it helps you to get a really great understanding of who you are, things that you can do, things that you can't do, things that maybe you want to do. And just on a personal note, the reason why I mentioned this, based off of the question that Sophie asked, was so I have anxiety, panic disorder, and depression. And I was told in that class that my chart could reveal that maybe I had issues of abandonment. And so if I was able to have my chart done, I could see that. I could learn to work around it, work with it, work over, you know what I mean? And so there are so many things that you can learn from your astrological charts. And so if you can start there, like at an astrocafe.com kind of idea, just to get like a brief overview to help you understand yourself, especially if you're trying to work through stuff. I think that's amazing. So I just wanted to mention that to you. If you have anything to add to that.
Oh yeah, there's you don't have, I mean, there's so much on the internet, having the astrologer do it, they basically break it down to simplest terms and read it back to you.
Right.
But there's a lot you can do on your own for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to sift and sort through to find what works.
Yeah.
But it's definitely doable nowadays for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's kind of like learning tarot. I mean, for me anyways. It took me about sort of 6 different methods of learning tarot before I found the method that worked for me.
That worked for you.
Right. And I think that when you learn tarot, like when you look at tarot cards, watching someone else do it, it's very confusing. Do I learn the major arcana first, the minor arcana, the court cards, the suits? What are they? You know what I mean? Like you can get yourself all caught up in it. The same as for astrology, right? Do I talk about the planets? Do I learn the signs? What about the houses? All that kind of thing. And I think that if you just sort of look at it and go, okay, there's the houses, there's the planets, there's the signs, like find a method that works for you and break it down like in simple terms. I think you could get a good grasp of it.
Yeah, let me tell you everyone though, if you want to learn astrology and be your own astrologer, it's going to take you years. So that's just something to watch out for. You're not going to learn astrology overnight if that's what you're hoping. So don't even try.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not a hobbyist kind of thing. There's
it's
so many,
a lot of study.
There's so many layers to it.
Extremely left brain. There's a lot of memorization involved in reading an astrology chart. A ton.
I sort of feel like it's connected to what is the word called? When you trace your family roots back, like is that genealogy?
Genealogy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel it's comparable to that, right? You really got to have like a good, like I really want to do this, and sort of be ready for the deep dive because there's so much information, right?
Mm-hmm. So much, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, okay, when my friend was studying, I was like, there's squares, there's houses, there's all the planets, and she was going, and I was going, what? And she moved away, and we didn't keep in touch after that. But she was trying really hard to take me along with her, but I was still at ascendant rising. I mean, it's just I think that it's so vast and it has so many layers to it that, especially if you try to dive in and figure it all out at once, you almost need to dip your toes and to have each layer separate and until you have it, and then move to the next, because it's not anything that you can, kind of
Yeah.
intuitively by the seat of your pants do.
Yeah. When I do classes, I stick to one or two topics for the 45-minute to an hour class, and then that's it. People like to jump around. They like to, okay, I think I got it, and then they're onto something else and they don't quite get it, and that's kind of where you never really end up really getting it, if you just a little here, a little there, because it all ties together. You have to really get something before you can move on to the next topic.
Be very structured.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I would also think if you didn't practice it,
you
so
forget.
you come to a class and you learn a little bit, and then you walk away. And if you don't apply it or practice it, you're going to lose any bit of knowledge that you might have retained, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. So when you do a solar return, do you read it separately or in conjunction with the birth chart? I'll refer back to the birth chart, but I don't do a detailed birth chart with the solar return.
Okay. Let's see about this. What about this one? Houses, planets, are they the key to finding the traumas and the pitfalls?
So the houses are where the action is taking place in the consciousness. The planets stand as the spiritual components. I would say the biggest traumas and the pitfalls would be the relationships between the planets.
Yeah, I know. I have like 13 squares.
Squares are more traumatic. Squares and conjuncts, oppositions. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to see any more questions. Now, you said that you have classes.
Yeah, I have.
What all kinds of readings do you do?
Yeah, so I do natal chart readings. I do transit chart readings. Those are the planets that are transiting in the sky, either in the past or in the future or now. Sometimes people are, people come to me, they're like, this specific incident happened in 1987 for a month. What was going on? And so I'll do a transit chart for that time, or if they have questions about what step to take next, or a future something in a couple of years, I can look up transits for that. I do synastry charts. Those are also called composite charts. Those are two charts that are combined into one. If people have questions around relationships. I do natal charts, for kids. Oh. Solar return charts.
Oh, nice. The kids. That's neat. It's really cool.
Yeah, those are the charts that I offer.
Okay. And what how do they contact you? Do you have a website, your email?
Yeah, I have my YouTube page. And then on my YouTube page, under the About section, there's my email.
Okay. Let's see. See what this is. I always seems when I think I have getting a basic grasp on astrology, the person teaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm still learning, believe it or not.
Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that, just like with the tarot, you never really stop learning because
there's new asteroids that always come out. Don't forget, it's made by humanity and it's a constantly evolving process. Yes. So there's constantly, new things that are coming out, new angles, new aspects, new asteroids.
Wow.
Sorry.
It's just, the saying, as above, so below, it just, you feel so small when you realize just how much astrology reveals in your life. It's just like, this is so big, it's so huge, And and that's the reason why that I'm just people that don't believe in it. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. it's this is how it is. I mean,
Yeah,
it's 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 almost like it's a fact. This is does this, and you know, multiple people. It,
it's
I'm
mind blowing. So
yeah.
the whole idea around the natal chart is that your soul actually picked that configuration while it was in between lifetimes for those specific karmic lessons, for that specific evolutionary path, for the specific soul growth. So it's very universally divine.
Um, I'm gonna have to go take some medicine because I'm getting a migraine,
Oh
and
dear.
so uh, stay here and talk with Kelly, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay.
Okay.
We'll hold down the fort.
We'll hold it down.
Sorry, I'm trying to. There was a question here. So, Poetic Justice Jeff Bailey says, "Have you been on Truth Tarot Warrior 2? I thought I seen you there."
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then says, "It is a science, right? Meaning the whole."
Yeah, it's a celestial science.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a science for sure.
And so, Adam, just real quickly, while Kathleen's gone to take her medication, do you have any words of advice or words of wisdom, words of caution, whatever we want to call it, guidance? We like the word guidance for the upcoming full moon.
So let's see. So the upcoming, so Mercury is out of retrograde, which is fantastic. Right now,
we're all very excited about that.
The next couple weeks is actually a great time for like short trips, or if there's some sort of traveling. The moon in Sagittarius, June 14th, the full moon. A Sagittarius moon is very, very travel oriented. There's been this Mars Jupiter conjunction, so we might see some more aggression. As far as the Mars and Aries. Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. It can be aggressive and passionate, and when it sits in the planet Mars, it can be very warlike, very volatile, and it's sitting next to Jupiter, so it sort of expands that volatility that's going to be going on the next couple weeks.
Right, just in time for the trials. That's or I guess that's what we're calling them, right? Are they trials?
Yeah, Saturn's going to be in retrograde. Saturn rules the law and karmic justice. And, Saturn and planets in retrograde are all about review. So the strong time for reviewing. The Saturn's going to be in Aquarius, though. And Aquarius, really, the foundation of Aquarius is about truth. So the foundation for this is truth. And if you really believe that truth prevails and truth will reign, then we will end up getting truth. Right. But it's probably going to take a while.
Of course.
We're not going to see anything straight away. There's going to be a lot of squares that day. There's going to be a Mercury-Saturn square. Mercury's communications. Right. With Saturn, there's going to be miscommunication. There's going to be probably a lot of delays. There's going to be a lot of frustrations. Right. A lack of communication. Probably some... I almost want to even go to the extent of maybe some lying. I was almost saying not fully telling the truth, but I'll just say it straight up. There could be some lying going on with the Mercury-Saturn square. Not really. Saturn in relation to Mercury, Saturn's more of a withholding type of planet. Mercury's communications. And when you get the square, it creates challenge and dynamic. So probably some withholding of some information as well on that day.
Interesting. Thank you for Adam.
Sure.
Let's see if I can share the screen. Maybe.
We were just asking Adam to tell us what we can look forward to for the upcoming full moon. There was another question there. When is the next retrograde?
So Mercury retrograde happens about 4 times a year. So approximately 3 months. So June, July, September. the next retro.
Okay. This is share my screen.
Wow. You know
Okay.
what? I think what we'll do is we'll save the chart reading for a different time.
Oh, I wasn't going to have you read the chart. I was
Okay.
just gonna. This the is this triangle what you're calling a square?
The reds.
The red.
All the
Okay.
red lines are squares. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just the angle that it is in is the square. Is that right? The angle?
Yeah, it's the
Or
relation
it,
in the planets.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I was like, there is no squares in my chart,
A lot of
but
squares. You have like
there's, I mean,
you have squares everywhere.
yeah, I have like 13. But I was just, I was wondering what, you know, there is no square. Square.
Oh, you mean you don't have a grand square, but you have squares.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you were looking for like a square inside of your chart. Yeah, no,
Yeah, but
yeah,
that's it. They said there are
yeah, no,
13
you're
squares.
actually-
And I'm like,
no, that's just a kind of a confusion of what squares mean.
okay.
Yeah, that would be called a grand square.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't have one of those, which is good. Those are challenging grand squares. But the thing about the squares, though, is squares create, they create passion and motivation and drive, but they also create challenges and obstacles.
Okay.
And clash.
Well,
so
I was born without a leg. Yeah, I was
Wow.
born without a leg.
Uh-huh.
And my mother had the measles in the first trimester of pregnancy. So there's one. And then I had a brain aneurysm. So there's another one. So out of the 13, I identified 2.
Squares are intense. They are intense. They pose karmic challenges and obstacles to overcome. It's either sink or swim with squares. There's always gonna be challenges with squares. We all have them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know this retrograde. I don't know if it was the moon or along with it, or was
Moon
doing
never
something
goes,
or something.
Yeah, so the moon never goes retrograde.
Well, I know, but I was just thinking. Sometimes, a lot of times, the moon affects me. I don't know if it's because I'm a Cancer or what. And this month, the retrograde was rough, and I was thinking, well, maybe it was the combination of the moon. Let's see, what was it? What was it in this month? But this retrograde was horrible, and I was trying to figure out why it was so much worse than the others.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been some square aspects to Mercury with this. Are you talking Mercury retrograde? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's imposed, communication problems, delays, difficulties with retrograde squares.
Let's see.
But the square components of the Mercury aren't done, but Mercury's gone direct, which creates less frustration with communication.
Well, that's a good thing.
So energetically, Mercury in retrograde, and we have a hard time in the United States just sitting tight and relaxing. Mercury in retrograde, folks, it's a time for review. We want to push through the Mercury retrogrades. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to. So we don't know what it's like just to sit there and like chill out. We need literally to take a chill pill and to understand that a lot of review is being happening. A lot of reorientation, a lot of synthesizing. It's a time where Mercury, standing for communication, it turns inward and it reflects to smooth itself out. We don't get that. So we keep butting our heads and we say nothing's happening. It's because we just want to push. It's just not how it is. And
that's the opposite of what we need to do. There's so many times that so many of the tarot cards are acceptance, release, all this kind of stuff. And people don't understand that we as human beings have, everybody has that need, that male dominated energy of go do. And sometimes that's not the answer. It's
No.
wait.
And people are going to be frustrated probably in the hearing because they're not going to get a straight answer. Saturn's in retrograde for a while. Saturn is the lawgiver and the taskmaster. It needs time for review. It's going to take a while,
Yeah.
It's interesting that you're both saying that because I'm not doing self-promotion, just literally the last couple of readings that I've done, because I do those daily reads, all I'm getting is just be still. Like just stop, stand still, take a moment. You know what I mean? I've been getting that for like the last 3 or 4 days, and it doesn't feel like the message is going to stop. So it's really interesting that you guys are saying that, because I'm definitely seeing that in my cards.
Any more questions there? Or
I've been trying to find it. Let's see. But other people agree with me. This one was a bitch. This one was a bitch.
This one was a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what other things were going on with it, but it was just like everything. I kept having internet issues. I kept having, computer problems. I kept having communication problems with other people. They weren't understanding what I was trying to say, and it was just swamping me. And I was like, oh my god, does this have does it? Does this have like a amplifier or what? And so I was looking for, I thought maybe the moon was affecting me negatively, that particular moon. And then because I was just, and it was like my response to it was not normal. I was a lot more emotional, and I'm just not. I mean, I'm kind of a low, even keel kind of person, and so me being that way was interesting, to say the least.
I think that's a really interesting question. Sort of what you just said, it made me think of this. Just quick. Would you say that there's a particular moon cycle that makes you I just want to hide in bed for like a couple of days until it's over? Because I know the full moon that we had in Leo, or the new moon that was in Leo a couple of months back. I mean, friends, honestly, I was like, what is happening here? Do I need to go to the hospital? Do I need to go to the doctor and get checked out? I was feeling some sort of way. Never felt that before. Hope, double touch wood. Never feel that again. It was awful. Like, I'd get up and I'd be like, oh my God, I need to go back to bed. Like, I just feel like a wet noodle. There was no other way to explain it. It was just awful.
Oh, strange. So the moon is the swiftest moving body in the zodiac. It changes signs every 2.5 days. So the good thing about lunar aspects is they're so changeable. If you just hold on a couple hours, they'll be aspecting something different.
It'll go.
Great. So I was having a bad moment, is what you're saying. Awesome.
It's a bad moment. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was like looking for anything. Of course, anytime I'm well, I guess it could be a combination of anything, not just the moon. But the reason why I went to the moon is because it's so. When I go outside at night, I am in my Zen place because the moon is shining down on me, and that's I'm not a sunshine person. I mean, of course, I like sunshine and rain instead of a rainy day or whatever. But my Zen place is my perfect Zen place would be a beach at night, listening to the waves and looking at the moon. And I just automatically assumed that because I respond to it so vividly, it had to be the moon doing this.
Yeah, well, your sun sign is Cancer, and Cancer is ruled by the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, well, that might kind of explain things then, huh?
Yeah. So you have your sun sign, which is your integration and your vitality. It's all about the inner life with Cancer. It's all about the emotional undercurrents. Yeah, your sun sign rules the moon. The sun is, you think of this bright sunny electromagnetic force field, but you're getting the moon there. So that's kind of the feeds your vitality and your sense of self-integration. And planets in Cancer are very psychic and very sensitive.
Yeah. Okay. What? Okay, here is, let's see what he said. I was angrier. And then this one is Deann. She said she had anxiety and irritable this Mercury retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Mercury retrograde. Yep. Communication, computers.
Let's see. Well, we've been on about an hour now, and I know that you probably had a skit or a speech laid out of well, I'll explain this, I'll explain that, and we kind of train wrecked it, but
actually I didn't, which was nice. I was like, I'll just take whatever questions people ask.
Yeah. Yeah, this is casual instead of like a speech.
Yeah, because if anyone listening, if you want the speech like videos, just look at the rest of the community collabs I've done. Those are all extremely organized on specific topics, and also to the videos that I post on my page too are very specified, to certain events.
This is Bora Bora. Let's see, my mouse will not move. Let's see. Oh, there we go. The moon affects me as well. I have a Pisces sun and a Cancer moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very psychic sun-moon combination. Very, very psychic.
All right. Okay, y'all. We will sign off. And everybody, I love you. Please like, share, subscribe. And I will be back to see you next week. And please, please, please go to Adam's Stargazing Astrology and Dozen Cats for me and subscribe. They are wonderful, wonderful people. And hopefully next week I won't have a migraine and we'll be a little bit more on point. Mwah! Be good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.